The bug type to me has always been the weakest type in Pokemon, but this is because it's designed to be the weakest type. Not every type has to be extremely powerful and even balanced in my opinion. I mean, the type that represents tiny little creatures shouldn't be as strong as the type that represents refined metals or mythological monsters which can level cities. I do, however, think that every type should be useful, and that's something which maybe Bug isn't that good at. In terms of the type chart, I don't actually think that Bug is that bad. It resists two of the best and most important types in the game, Ground and Fighting, which are really common physical attacking types. It also hits the very powerful Dark type for super effective damage, which is a brilliant trait to have. If I was changing Bug's type matchups, the only new change that I would give it is give it a new resistance to Fairy. Fairy is one of the most powerful attacking types in the game, and it's really spammable. Moves like Moonblast can basically be clicked without having to think about what will the repercussions of this be. I also think that it works from a flavor perspective, but I'm not really sure how. I just think that it works, and I can't really explain that. Instead, I think that the thing that really lets Bugs down is the fact that there just aren't very many good Bug Pokemon. In recent generations, there has been a lot more of them, and you do have some outliers like Pokemon like Volcarona, but in general, Bugs are the weakest Pokemon, and this kind of brings the type down with it. The fact that these guys are Bug types is not necessarily what makes them bad Pokemon. But I also don't think that this is a bad thing either, because I feel as though Bug should really lean into the fact that they don't have the strongest Pokemon, but they should have a lot of really good utility. My personal philosophy when it comes to how Pokemon should design their Pokemon is that they shouldn't all have to be amazing, but they should all be useful. And giving Bug a lot more utility moves would really help this, because now you have a reason why you might want to use that Bug type over something else on your team, just because the Bug can do a lot more things that other Pokemon can't. One of the things that I think sets Bug apart from other types is that they have some really creative moves. They have moves like Fell Stinger, Sticky Webs, and First Impression. These are all really interesting mechanical moves that I think really just set the Bug type apart from all the other types in Pokemon. I think that introducing more interesting moves like this could be really helpful. As a result, this video is going to be more on moves and mechanics that I'd like to see introduced to the Bug type Pokemon. The first of these being the new move, Metamorphosis. I envision Metamorphosis as being a Bug type status move that is mostly limited to the early Bugs. Those Bugs that evolve really early and they all go through some sort of Metamorphosis stage. The way that it works is that on the first turn, it has a +2 priority. This means that it's faster than most other priorities, so if you use the move Bullet Punch, Metamorphosis will go before that, but if you use a move like Fake Out, then it won't. On this first turn, it will raise your defenses by 1 stage. This is both defense and special defense. The following turn, you are free to use whatever move you want, but at the end of that turn, it will lower those defenses by 2 stages, before raising all of your attacking stats by 2 stages. When I say attacking stats here, I mean special attack, and speed. So it's essentially like having the benefits of a Shell Smash. Obviously, the drawback of this is that you have to take 2 turns of damage. However, there would be a few ways that you can work around this. The first is that you can have the move Protect, which you can use on your second turn to not take damage. Whilst another option would be the use of a Power Herb, which means that you get the bonuses at the end of the first turn rather than at the end of the second turn. Obviously, the drawbacks of these would be that you'd have to use a move slot or an item if you want to use them, so if you're a setup sweeper, it's not going to be that good only having 2 moves, or maybe losing out on that Life Orb or those heavy duty boots that you'll need, because remember, this is going on weak Bug types. In doubles, it might even be easier to pull off, because if you have an ally use Follow Me in that first turn and then you use Protect in that second turn, you basically avoid all damage, but then again that really requires you building around this one specific Pokemon. Whilst this is a really powerful effect, the thing that I think will weaken it the most is the Pokemon that it's available to. I want it to essentially be limited to the Pokemon that go through metamorphosis, and even though I know basically all Pokemon evolution is a form of metamorphosis, I mean in the more traditional sense of metamorphosis. So I'm talking about Pokemon that go through that larva to pupa to adult stage. Even with this new move, I don't see them being that powerful. Butterfree with its really accurate sleep powder could be a threat in lower tiers, but I still don't see it being a world ender in something like overused or maybe even underused. The real issues could arise when you start to broaden what you mean by metamorphosis, because technically Pokemon like Seismitoad, Politoed, and Bellibolt all do metamorphosis, and I think that these Pokemon could probably have it because they're not going to be that good anyway, so it probably would just help to give it to them just for a bit more fun and a bit more flavor. However, two Pokemon that do go through metamorphosis that are definitely not getting it are Tyranitar and Salamence, because if they had access to this, well, they would become really, really overpowered, in my opinion. There's also the case for Baton Pass, but I don't really see this as being that much of an issue because Baton Pass doesn't really exist in singles anyway, and if you really wanted to go for it, then I think you should be able to do it in doubles, because the more open metagame of that really allows you to go for whatever you want. I might be over-exaggerating how good I think this move could be, so if you have any comments on how you think it should work, or if you think it will be too strong or not strong enough, just let me know. Another change for bugs that I'd like to see is the reintroduction of the order moves and giving them a greater distribution. The order moves are currently exclusive to Vespiquen, and if you expanded these moves, I think that you would really help other bug types. Attack order is just a better version of X-Scissor. While I'm generally against just having better versions of another move because it just makes the other move redundant, I'd probably give this one the smallest distribution and only give it to the Pokemon that really exhibit a hive mind-like behavior, so Pokemon like Phalanx and Durant. Defend order and heal order, on the other hand, I think would be really good if you gave them to bulkier bug types. We could maybe even see a revival of Shuckle now that it has reliable recovery in heal order. I do have an alternative if we want to keep these as Vespiquen's signature moves, because I am a really big fan of having signature moves because, like I said in the intro, I'm all about having Pokemon be unique. I think that Nectar Drink really just makes sense as a bug type option, and you could even give it to a Pokemon like Ursaring. Bug at the moment currently has 2 multi-hit moves, and I think that it could do with a third, and kind of make it a pseudo specialization for the type. The way I do this is by introducing Multi-Kick, which is a move designed around the fact that bugs have a lot of legs. This would essentially be a reskinned version of Population Bomb, and I think it fits really well. Both normal and bug are bad offensive types, so having the ability to have a really strong multi-hit move could really be helpful for them. Give it to all of the Pokemon with lots of legs like Scolipede or Centiskorch, and even most of the spiders. Another move I'd like to see add would be something like Honey Shot, that essentially would be a weak attacking move similar to Icy Wind, that is guaranteed to take down your opponent's speed whenever it hits. It's not a move designed to do damage, but I don't think that many bug type moves should be designed to do damage, more to give you utility. As an added bonus to this move, you could maybe also make it so that if a Pokemon uses a biting move against a Pokemon that has been hit by Honey Shot, it deals double damage, because I think that that would be a really fun and kind of situational utility for it to have. The final type of move that I would suggest would kind of be a new mechanic that could be implemented into Pokemon. This would be a trap move. I envision trap moves being very similar to hazards, but instead you set them up on your own side of the field. Trap moves would essentially punish your opponent for directly hitting you, and they wouldn't be removed when the Pokemon that uses them switches out. This way you could essentially set a trap and then switch out, giving you the opportunity to set up with another Pokemon. When I said that this was a new move, I kind of lied, because I want to give this effect to Spideup's signature move, Silk Trap. Spidops is an absolutely terrible Pokemon, so giving it this wouldn't really be that bad, and maybe in the future you also expand it to the other spider-based Pokemon. But in this way, Spidops would essentially be able to pass one free Protect to its teammate. We've seen how powerful a move like Shed Tail could be, so I think that this could be really powerful even though it's on an absolutely terrible Pokemon. Silk Trap also has the benefit of lowering speeds, which could be really helpful for a setup sweeper that is coming in later. One thing that I should clarify is that the trap move is only used up when it is attacked. When your opponent uses a status move, it doesn't set off the trap, only attacking it will. So those are the changes that I would introduce to the bug type. But what do you think about them? Because some of them I think could either be really powerful or really weak, depending on their distribution. If you've enjoyed this video, I hope that I've earned a like or a subscribe from you, because this summer I'm aiming to hit 500 subscribers, and if you could be a part of that and help me out, it would be really great. Thank you.